Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Explode Your Expert Business Show. We have a guest that has been actually on the podcast, on the show before, the one and only Dario Cucci. Great to have you back, Dario.
Thank you for having me back.
Now, you are in the exotic Switzerland.
I
Very,
am.
very exotic and very cold, probably at this time of the year as well.
Yeah, it is a little bit cold, but it's okay. I'm inside the house, so it's all good.
We're inside, we are warm, and we are warming up for you guys to give you a great interview. So stay tuned for the next 20 minutes because we're going to teach you and we're going to help you become an ultimate entrepreneur. I'm going to be speaking soon at the Ultimate Entrepreneur Conference, which Dario created. And I know Dario divided this conference and the entrepreneurial journey as well in 4 areas, which we are going to talk about right now. But before we mention the 4 areas and what they are and what is going to be covered as well in the conference, tell us a bit more about your ultimate entrepreneurial journey.
My God, how much time do we have? Long story short, I mean, my journey started when I decided to move to Australia because I was bored of Switzerland. I wanted to explore the world, and I moved to Australia when I was very young. And during my time in Australia, first I was an employee working in the hospitality industry and retail industry. And then later on, I got my certification as a personal trainer, where I successfully had a franchise for almost 5 years, even like, had apprentices that are trained as personal trainers. And then I found the people that I trained self-sabotage their goals, and they reach a goal and they would self-sabotage. And I asked myself, why is this happening all the time? And I wanted to help individuals more on a deeper level, on a subconscious level. Just didn't know how to. And then I came across NLP, and I started doing my certification on NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis with Dr. Tad James in Australia. Did my master practitioner. And that is how I ended up ultimately, eventually working with individuals and startup companies to help them reach their goals by letting go of limitations and also getting more clear about what it is that they want to achieve and how to. And later on, I got offered a job working with the Anthony Robbins team, selling UPW tickets and they do Destiny and all that sort of stuff. And that is how I got into the entire self-development and events industry. And for almost 10 years in a row, I literally succeeded at selling intangible products like educational products, mentoring products, coaching products, things like that over the phone. And that is how I ended up becoming an expert in that area on how to communicate with prospects and customers to sell, coaching and mentoring programs and event tickets and things like that, anywhere between $1,000 to $60,000. So at a high, and that it was all over the phone. So that's how my entrepreneur journey all started. And even though I was very successful, I ended up compromising my health, and putting everybody else first, and that wasn't really good.
A lot of entrepreneurs do that. It feels like the business sometimes it sucks our life.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up, I thought I had a stroke, but it turns out I had Bell's palsy, which even though it sounds like a snack, it's not. It's basically paralyzing part of your face in a nervous system, and nobody really. I mean, the doctors are hopeless. They really don't know where it's coming from or why. They give you an anti-inflammatory medication, and then after that, they just tell you, well, wait and see what happens. And I wasn't satisfied with that, so I ended up, healing myself through hypnosis, through acupuncture, and other alternative methods.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to move back to Switzerland from Australia to start my own journey. And I started my business to help entrepreneurs and business owners to become better at, with their mindset, with their communication skills, and with their business strategies in structuring to serve their customers in a better way than what I have observed in the past with companies that have been fairly successful. One of the things that in the self-development industry is mostly one of big problems is the front looks all glossy and glamorous.
Yeah.
The back end is a complete mess.
Yeah.
And that is something that I just don't like. I like things to be structured and organized, and I believe you can actually be successful and have that. And so that is how I ended up getting my business started here in Switzerland. That was over 3 years ago. Um, I mean, I came also to you for mentorship as well, and we worked together when I started in my early days. And since then, I had some mentors that exactly did the same mistakes as some of the people in Australia that were successful, glossy and glamorous in front. On the back end, when it comes to customer service, there was systems were lacking, skills were lacking, and I want to prevent that from happening. And that is where my service comes in, because when I work with business owners, I really look at, when you are looking after your customer, how can you look better after your customer? You might do a good job, but how can you do it even better?
I
Because there's
like it.
always room for improvement. And the
Absolutely.
fact is that one of the biggest downfalls is that we get sales front end, but there is not enough repeat sales on the back end. And the reason being is because we automate everything. So my thing about becoming and being an ultimate entrepreneur is to really help business owners along the way to find a balance, to have a healthy lifestyle, to be, grow with your mindset, and let go of limitations around things that have to do with sales and customer service and the way you handle it. But also, what can you do to leverage time to make more money without exchanging
Mm-hmm.
time for money,
Mm-hmm.
as well as, what business strategies can you add or tweak to, accelerate your own personal growth with the business. And that is where I am now is basically I work with business owners, I have workshops, and I do online. So I do more online these days with coaching and mentoring than I do live events. I used to do a
Yeah.
lot of live events where now these days one thing that I started doing is just do less of that because my time is valuable. And the thing is, organizing an event, every time you organize it, I love it in a sense of doing it when I'm there, but the entire back end, there's so many things to take care of,
Yeah.
it's fairly underestimated by
We
people.
do an average. We organize an average of 70 events every year with GTeX, so I know what you're talking about. I know
Yeah,
what you.
I used to do about 6 to 10 events a year, and now I'm literally, I mean, I love guest speaking and all of that, but I know I do like 2 to 6 events a year.
Okay,
So the
so
ultimate entrepreneur being one,
mm,
and then there is a 5 day high-end selling retreat that I do, um, and that's about it.
okay, so I want to
And
ask you about the ultimate entrepreneur. So we can jump into the four areas that you have identified that also are going to be covered in the conference. So what
mm,
are these four areas, and why did you come up with them?
well, from personal experience, it's either you are successful with money but you don't have time, or you are literally struggling to get to that place where you got financial cash flow and you are running around like a headless chicken, and then the health is compromised, or it is you're really healthy, but your business is not growing, or it is that you are like limited by your resources. And so it's always one or the other thing, or it's like you're doing really well in business, but the strategies do not give you cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you are getting people in, it's not converting. So the four areas that I am looking at, every entrepreneur has four areas in life, and I know that from experience. One is our mindset. We can always evolve. We all have stuff, baggage that we need to let go that is from the past. Some of it is not even ours, some of it is our parents, and it's been passed down, certain beliefs where you've been told when you're growing up as a child, this is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not your belief to take, and we need to learn to let go of beliefs that are being given by our parents, because we need to create our own beliefs that are, constructive and empowering. And then there is health, there are the genetics, and there are things that we can do about it, because our health is the number one important thing um, to have. Without it, you can be as successful as you like, but if your health is compromised, you will not be able to sustain it. And then there is the business, and business is always evolving. It continuously changes. It used to be that you used to actually dial like an actual dial and manual phone. That was years ago before the mobile came out. And then you used to not only make phone calls to remind a person to pay the bill or anything else, but you also, just call and have a conversation with the person and see how they're happy with the service. And that's no longer happening, because we think that all the automation of email marketing replaces that, and it's not. It just complements it. But we need to talk more with one another. And then what is the wealth factor? There are people that have property wealth, or other kinds of wealth, but they don't have financial cash flow wealth to grow their business, and that is the other area that we are covering during the Ultimate Entrepreneur, because in order for you to grow your business, you need financial cash flow. You
Yep.
can also and one of the things that I normally talk about is you need to have at least 3 to 5, if not 7 streams of income. And so that if one dries out, the other one backs it up, and you're never in that stress situation where you go into survival mode, because that is the worst scenario for any entrepreneur, when you need to survive instead of thriving. That is the reason why I have those four areas covered during the Ultimate Entrepreneur.
And this is going to be very powerful, and there are going to be different speakers covering the other areas, every
Mm,
area. So, for example, I will be talking about how to become an authority in
mm,
your field, and then there are going to be other speakers talking about financial management, about mindset, about health. So then we can cover all these different areas,
mm,
and I can acknowledge what you're saying, in the fact that every single area is very important. And the question I want to ask you is finding balance in these areas, like, what's your view? Will we ever able to have the perfect balance, or does balance
mm.
even exist? What's your view on that?
Well, that's a very good question. I think that, yes, I do believe we all can create balance in life. It's not easy. That is why I say to people, do you want to become the ultimate entrepreneur? Because the ultimate entrepreneur ultimately can have balance. He can have success in all four areas. Getting there is the journey. That's the journey. You know, am I already there? No, nowhere near it. I believe it's like a journey that we are all making together. And when you are doing your best that you can, and you're making the time available, and you make priorities, and you work with mentors and coaches that can help you in the areas where you are not as skilled as you want to be, or not as experienced, then you can get there. It takes time. You cannot you cannot rush it, you know. It's not like somebody would say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon
Yeah.
to achieve it. And when you are, I mean, there are two things that I have so far achieved. One is,
Pardon me.
bless you.
Thank you.
Um, I mean, two things that I would say I'm fairly happy with where I'm going is mindset, and the other one is the way that my finances are getting there. And those are two things. And the one that I'm working on this year is my health, and ultimately the business as well. You know, those are the two things where I go in regards to business expansion. I will step it up this year and looking at my health. And but you know, even if you got all the four covered and you're successful in all of them, then the question is, what's the next step? How can you step it up and still balance it out?
Hmm.
So you're never really getting to a point where
So we're
you
never
go,
never arrived. You're never getting to a point where you're saying, okay, I've arrived. That's the goal. I'm there. It's an evolution. That's what I
yeah,
heard
it's
you
an
saying.
evolution.
It's
It's
an
like
evolution process.
yeah, every time you reached a goal, you're in a way newborn. You know, it's almost like you're starting a new cycle kind of thing. Um, I mean, look at some of the people that are very successful entrepreneurs. Let's say Oprah Winfrey. Okay, she was very successful as a black woman, journaling other business people. Then she ended up starting her own show. She became even more successful, and she did that show for years and years and became a household name, not only as a journalist but also as an actor. And then she left that production and started her own production, and now she does her own TV show as well as interviewing the stars. So she had her own evolution, if you want to put it this way. And I believe we all, like yourself or myself, we had an evolution as well.
Hmm.
You know, so we're all keep on growing, and that is what makes it exciting. That
Yeah.
is why we are not employed in a 9 to 5 job.
Absolutely. I found that the more I experience and the more I achieve, the bigger my vision becomes. So
Mm,
while before, the vision was I was happy to become a speaker and speak 5 times, 6 times a year. Then I arrived to the point where the norm became speaking 10 times a year, and then the
mm.
norm became speaking to a point for 200 times a year. Like I did more than 1,000 events in the past 5 years. It's been 1,000
That's a
talks.
lot. That's a lot.
I know. I know. But for me, some of the things that I'm looking this year is to reduce the number because I've been doing 200 speeches every year for the past 5 years. And this year I'm going to reduce slightly, so probably going around the 100, 120 mark, but because I'm going to focus on creating other different aspects of the business, which I haven't
Mm,
been focusing in the past because I was focusing on the speaking and the seminar part of the business.
mm,
So it's a constant, consistent evolution, and even the thoughts that I have in terms of philanthropy and helping other people and charity work is expanding the more I expand as a person and the more experiences I get. So very, very good point, Dario. Now it's time to wrap up. Tell us a bit more about the Ultimate Entrepreneur Conference, when it is, where it is, and guys, remember that we got 15 tickets that we can get. So just send me an email, and I will send you one of these tickets if there is any left at this point. But hey, give it a go anyway. Send me an email at simone@gtex.org.uk. Dario, tell
yeah.
us more.
So the Ultimate Entrepreneur is on the 9th and 10th of February. It's going to be held at the Parkin Hotel in Heathrow, which is on Bath Road. And we have 10 international speakers. We got speakers from Italy. Elena Grizzi is coming from Italy. She's going to talk
Yeah,
about,
Elena,
yeah,
she's
you
a
know
really good
her, right?
friend. Yeah, she's a really good
She's a good
friend.
friend of yours. And she's going to talk about mindset and how to create magic in your life to enjoy a magical lifestyle as an entrepreneur. We have someone even coming from Dubai, Spencer Lodge, who's going to talk about how to automate your sales whilst growing your business without losing the relationship with your customers. So it's going to be amazing. Then there's yourself, of course. You're going to talk about, becoming an authority in 3 months with what you know. And I'm going to talk about the sales mindset and how one can actually use their communication skills to build relationships and make an additional $1 million sales revenue when doing it the right way, without having to do the hard sell that is being taught. And yeah, I mean, there's three different tickets. The gold tickets, because you're a sponsor, you got 15 gold tickets. The gold tickets really have great value because right now the gold tickets are being sold online for £99. And so you got 15 of those gold tickets that you're giving to the people that take action as a gift. And so with the gold ticket, you will get access to the event, you get priority seating, you will have the edited recording of the full event 4 to 6 weeks after the event, and you also get a hard copy of my book, Turning Customers into Profit. So yeah, so it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be full on 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, starting, the registration is open at 8 a.m. on Saturday. The doors will open to the seminar room at 9 a.m. and we'll do a bit of a warm-up visualization, help make people to arrive, that sort of thing. And then the official seminar starts at 9:30 a.m.
So we're going to have also all the details. There is going to be the link here in the show notes, so you can check all the details of the event. Make sure that if you want a free ticket, then free gold ticket, then send me an email at simone@gtex.org.uk. In the show notes I will put also my discount code for the other level of tickets if you want to have more goodie bags and more if you want to get more out of the seminars, and then you can go also for the other level of tickets. Dario, thank you very much for spending time with us. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Ultimate Entrepreneur Conference. It's been a while since last time we saw each other in person.
Yeah, exactly.
We often see each other online, but not in person. So I'm really excited to see you again. And thank you very much for putting up this great event.
Thank you so much for being part of it, and look forward to seeing you at the event in not even 2 weeks' time. So
we're almost there.
It's arriving very soon.
Yeah, we're almost there. All right, guys, thank you very much for listening to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. If you're listening on any other podcasting platform, thank you for listening. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I know you want to, so that you don't going to miss any other incredible episodes that we have moving forward for you. Thank you very much, and remember that together we grow exponentially. See you next time. Ciao.
Ciao.